I didn't have the heart to tell this story earlier because every time I tried to, my eyes would fill up with tears. But something happened lately that made me realize it was time. I wanted this story, the story of how a very special dog became part of our lives, to be heard. This is the story of Lucy. To us, to me, she was family, and I miss her. And probably I will always miss her. For us, even buying the cabin in the mountains from where I do my vlogs is connected to her life. If you're new to the channel, my name is Antonella and welcome to Green Drivers. But let's start from the beginning. A few days ago, I came back from the garden and I found my 5-year-old daughter, Saga, on the couch under a blanket. I thought she was playing hide and seek. But then I heard tiny whimper coming from it, and I slowly pulled the blanket up and I said, "Are you okay?" And she was staring at me with her big blue eyes, and she was crying, and she was clutching in her hand the leash from Lucy. Lucy was our dog, and she passed away in July. Saga told me she was thinking about her, and she was thinking about how soft her ears were and about this collar that she was always wearing. It was a special collar that has lights in it, because when we were going out in the forest, we couldn't really see where the dog was because she would like just disappeared in between the trees. So she had this special color with an orange light just for the evenings. And she was keep saying like, "I keep thinking about her, and when Christmas gonna come, I want to be able to pet her." And I didn't know what to say, and I got eyes full of tears as well, and it felt really like we were just grieving our lost friend. I'm making this video because this dog that for us was very special came from a shelter, and I really want to point out how important it is to think when you get an animal, what is the story that you want to tell about yourself and about the animals you're getting in your house. We wanted to help somebody, and we got her from a shelter. Especially nowadays where you can buy everything, it's really important to give a chance to shelter dogs, because they're really going through a lot of bad things, and to be able to help them, it's an amazing thing. But let's start from the beginning. Lucy came into my life 12 years ago on the 2nd of January, and she came from Croatia. Well, she didn't came from Croatia, we went to get her. In Croatia, there is a law that says that after 60 days that a dog gets caught, they have to be euthanized, so they have to be killed. And Lucy was lucky because she was growing up in a private shelter that didn't have to follow this rule, so they just kept her there for all the time that they had her, for like almost 2 years. I was looking for a dog to adopt, and I saw her picture online, and she was really a sad looking dog with her ears down, and she really looked subdued and like depressed, but I could see there was like something in her. She was really peculiar. I showed her to my husband, and he said, "Yeah, I think we should get this dog." But the lady that was taking care of the shelter where she was living thought that we needed to meet her first, because she was a really shy dog, and she said that other people had come and tried to get close to her, but at the end they didn't take her because she just couldn't like really fit with them. So we drove 2 hours all the way down to the middle of Croatia, and met with this girl. Her name is Tanya, and she ran this tiny shelter where Lucy was. Lucy wouldn't even let us go near her. She would like just growl, and she didn't want anybody to go near her. She was sitting by herself near a stove on a tiny cotton carpet made of knots. That was the only thing that she owned. And she didn't go with the other dogs. She didn't stay with the other dogs in the basket. She was just staying there by herself, and she looked really lonely. And I saw her, and it broke my heart, because I felt like I was so sorry for her. I saw earlier some pictures from when she was a puppy. She was like a tiny furball like this. She was very cute, and I just couldn't fathom why nobody would have taken her. And Tanya told me that she had 4 brothers, and they all got adopted straight away when they were like 6 weeks old. But Lucy didn't get picked up by anybody. They just didn't feel she would fit with anybody, because she was so shy, so reserved. She would just stay in a corner and not go with anybody. So 2 years passed, and she had just turned 2 years old. After like half an hour, she finally decided to take a biscuit from my hand. But I'm not joking, like half an hour sitting in front of her, and she wouldn't not even care about whatever biscuit I was presenting. But finally she got this treat for me. And so Tanya says, okay, let's go for a walk. And we put the leash on, we go out, and it starts to drizzle. The weather was really horrible. It was cold and everything. So we walk her to a field, and we bring with us some other dogs, and then they say, okay, unleash her. So I take off the leash, and she transforms. She starts running and barking and jumping and playing with the other dogs. I'm like, what is with this dog? And she was just unrecognizable. So like, the spark that I saw in those first pictures I saw of her, they're there. You can see that this dog is a dog full of life. It's just, she just couldn't fit anywhere. And so she plays and whatever, and then we say, okay, let's get back to the house, because the rain would not stop, and it was like just annoying. And me and my husband had already somehow decided that we would take this dog, even if the girl from the shelter, even if Tanya was not convinced that we would have taken her away. So we had like a basket ready in the car and everything. We get to the shelter again. Tanya started drying her with a towel, and I said, well, I can do that. She's gonna come with us, right? But nothing was decided yet. So I start drying her with this towel, and my husband is doing something in the van, and he opens the back door, and I'm talking with Tanya. I turn around, then I turn back, and Lucy just gets in the car. Like, she already had decided. Like, that was fine for her. And Tanya looks at me, and she's like, I've never seen anything like that. She doesn't ever trust anybody. She never had trust anybody before. She was just like, so she was always holding back, and now she gets in a car and she's looking at you like, okay, let's go, I'm fine. So that was it. That was the day that she got into her life. And she was a really behaved dog, but she was so scared of everything. Like, the window would like open for a gust of wind, and she would just like run scared under the table and be very, very worried. And it was like really hard at the beginning, and I was taking her out for walks, and she really didn't belong in a city, and so it was really hard. She would get scared of everything. I always had to like whisper to her, so even when I was commanding her, like, don't run over the street, don't do this, I would have to go like, don't do it. Otherwise she would just go crazy and get really scared. But in time we worked it out, and we really discovered like an amazing dog. She was just like guarding us all the time, looking at us. Like, we would go hike, And she would just run like 100 meters in front of us, but only if she could see where we were, and always checking on us, and nobody could like even look at us. And it was a very funny relationship, and she really got attached to me and I to her. And when I got my back surgery in 2017, I had to stay in the bed for 3 months. I couldn't walk, so I couldn't take her out. And my husband tried to take her out, and she just wouldn't go. Like, he had to pick her up, like 16 kilos of dog, and walk her down the stairs and put the leash on, take her out, and she would just like be outside and get back. And it's even one of the reasons that we choose to get the cabin in the mountains, because we knew that it would be good for me, since I couldn't go walking and hiking that much. To have a house directly in the middle of the mountains was like a good solution, and it would have been good for her too, because she would just like be able to roam around. And when we first took her there, and it was January again that we went to see this house, and there was snow, and like 2 meters of snow, like a lot of snow, and she would just like jump in the snow and eat the snow and go crazy around it. She was like really happy, so she really fit with the cabin. And that was a good, like a super good sign for us, because we knew we did the right thing. And along the way, then Saga came, of course. November 2019, Saga was born. And from the moment she came into the house, Lucy just took charge. That was her baby. Nobody could even look at the girl without her like standing in the middle, like, what are you doing? You're looking at her, you sure? And she was like always, she was never aggressive or anything, but she would like make sure that you understand that she was looking at you, and she was checking on the baby. And she would treat her like a wolf pup, because this tiny human being that was rolling around on the floor with her would like play and pull the hair and the ears, and she would just like be there patiently waiting, letting her do her things. And when she realized that Saga was old enough to understand, she would like give her a hint that was time to stop, like, okay, you play, but now stop pulling my ears. So she would like not bite her, she would like hold her hand with her teeth, with the jaws, without holding it like too tight, just like to show her like this is not okay. And so they got their balance. So we ended up having a baby that like she was a toddler, and she was crawling around, and this girl knew more about how to behave with with a wolf than how to behave with other kids. And that was a bit funny, but it was very nice to see them. Like, there was a very nice balance, and there was so much love from Lucy for this tiny human being. And she made her part of our tribe. Like, okay, this is the tribe, now it's bigger, and she belongs to it. And that's a bit what I feel about all of you that are watching. It's like, I'm trying to get a bigger tribe. Like, I want to share what we're doing here in the cabin, and that's why I'm sharing the story about Lucy, because I feel that we are all somehow connected, and we are talking the same language, and probably you understand what I'm talking when I'm saying that I really miss her, and that she was really a part of our life. And I just want this channel to be a safe harbor for anybody that feels they belong in this community. And that is why I'm telling you about Lucy and how I feel about it. I really hope you all had the moment to enjoy her in our videos, and had the chance to see that she was such a special animal. And if you have an animal in your life, I really hope that that animal is doing very good, and I wish you all the best. And if you have any stories that you want to share with me about what you did with your animal, or what you're doing with your animal, if you're sharing passions and walking around the mountains or whatever, wandering the world with a pet, I'd love to hear those stories. So make sure that you share them in the comments, so we can all make this pets part of our community. And Green Thrivers is not just for humans, it's for our animals as well. So they're all part of our big family. So well, anyway, They both grow. Well, actually, Saga grew taller and Lucy grew older. And she always had problem with her heart, but it never gave us much trouble. Then in May this year, things got worse all of a sudden. We would go out and she would just like walk, and all of a sudden the hind legs will just fold, and she couldn't manage to get back up. Like, she didn't have the strength, or you could see that she was like really struggling a bit. And then she started having troubles with breathing, and the veterinary told us that this heart problem that she had got worsened, and she needed some medicine. So we started a treatment, and the heart got better. But this medicine that she was taking was working really bad with her kidney, and it really made a mess with her kidney. And one of the last blood tests that we ran, the veterinary looked at them and he said, if I wouldn't see her in front of me, like standing, I would tell you that this dog is already dead, because the blood tests were like just crazy. She had all these levels that were so high, and there wasn't much we could do. We tried everything. We tried for a few days to do some infusion, but that wouldn't work. And we just realized that we were just pulling this thing. We were stretching it too much, and she was just lying around, and I could see that her horizon had changed. And there is a very nice girl. She's called Jonna Inton, and she does her vlogs from Sweden, I think. And she has a very old dog, Nanook, and she was saying that the world of her dog is slowly shrinking. Like, it's really getting smaller. And when I heard it last week, I thought that's what I was perceiving with Lucy, and it broke my heart. And it was really like a change in her horizon. She would want to come with us, but she would just get so tired. And after many hours of reflection and talk with my husband, we decided it was time to put her to sleep. And Saga was really, of course, distressed by it. She would just say, I don't want the doctor to come and put her to sleep. And I said, like, I know, me neither, but there's nothing we can do. She's suffering. So eventually we decided it was time to let her go. In June, it was my birthday on the 20th, and on just the day before midsummer. She was barking and jumping and doing her things. And yeah, she was not doing perfectly fine, but I wasn't expecting that less than a month after she would had to be put down. We called the veterinary. He was really, really nice, and he came over, and we did all the procedure on our carpet, and Saga got to see it, and she got to pet her in her last moments, and then it was over. Our story was over, and I felt so empty, and I felt like maybe I failed her, because she chose us, and now we were saying goodbye, and it was just hard. So we took her to our garden. We dug a hole, we put her down, and we made a circle of stone around it, and it was hard for all of us, but I thought, okay, Saga is slowly getting over it. She's young, kids are resilient, and I have to explain to her what death is, that it's part of life. I want her to see that it's all part of the same circle, but I know it's impossible to explain it to a child. And I told her that it was okay to be sad, but that things will eventually get better, and that we could always bring her a like present, and she was doing drawings for the grave, and slowly things got a bit better, and I know I miss her, and I thought maybe Saga would forget eventually in time. But then the other day when I saw her crying under her blanket, I realized that they do process grief differently. And she keep saying to me, she was here when I came. She's always been in my life. And I realized how deep the connection was and how much she was really hurt inside. And from my adult position, I told her, when you lose somebody, you keep them in your heart and you keep them in your mind. And that way you always have them with you. And I was saying that to relieve her. But she looked at me and she said, yeah, Mama, but when I keep her in my heart, my heart hurts. And I felt so silly and speechless, because I was trying to make her feel better. But instead I should have just let her process the thing. There's no way to make it better. There's just the loss, there's just the grief. And as adults, we have a lot of tools to cope with it. But I know how to keep the memories on the side. I know how to keep them at bay. But a child doesn't know how to do that. And it's really hard for them. It's something that they have to learn. So instead of keep trying to make it better, I just told her, I'm sorry, I know it hurts. And that was it. And because it's okay, it hurts, and that's all. It hurts, and there's nothing else. And you just have to learn to live with it. And I know that in time it's gonna change. But of one thing, I must say I am thankful. I am sorry that we've lost her, and I'm sorry that my girl is sad. But on the other hand, I'm absolutely thankful that her first heartbreaking moment was losing her dog, and that she was old enough to perceive the pain, because at the same time, she will keep her in her heart. I'd rather have her understand this than anything else, because it means that you understand what love is, what a deep connection like that was, and it's very precious. I'm really grateful for what she gave us. Like, she gave us a legacy, and her legacy is the love that those two creatures shared, my daughter and my dog. And since I think this is a big tribe, it's the Green Tribers tribe, and since you saw her for so long in the videos, I thought I'd tell you where she came from. And Lucy will really be missed. She was so much part of our journey. She taught me that life is short, life changes, and it's impermanent, life stops, and death is part of it. And I'm thankful for that, because it's a great reminder of how lucky we are. And as an adult, I can say I can keep the memories and her in my heart and not cry all the time. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was a sad subject, but I really thought it was time for people to know her story, so they can somehow remember her differently. And for this time, this is gonna be it. Next time I'm gonna update you on a few things, and maybe I'll even tell you a very nice story that happened to me lately that I hope you're gonna just be relieved to hear as well. And until next time, take care. Ciao.